G'day guys, Ronnie Dale, Four Wheeling Australia. In this video we're going to look at the top 5 modifications you can do to your vehicle to help it get further off-road. Give it more ability, more capability, same thing really, isn't it? But we're talking about easy, medium and tough tracks. These 5 mods will get you further. Which will be the number 1 mod? Number 5, the first one on the list. Definitely not at the top, but definitely earns a spot on the list, and that's the winch. Because the winch will no doubt help you get further. Winching. You do need a tree though, and a recovery kit to go with it, which you will probably get anyway when you buy a winch. But a winch is definitely earns a spot on the list. Not only will it help recover yourself when nothing else works for you, but you can also remove trees on the track, which also assists you in getting further off-road. And it can help your mates out too, score a couple of cartons. Let's move to number 4. Number 4, tuning your engine. That sounds a bit counterintuitive, doesn't it? Because you can make it more unreliable by tuning it. That is very true. Let's not discount that. But what I'm telling you here is, if you tune your engine just a little bit to get a better performance out of it in lower RPM, specifically on a diesel engine, you're going to thank yourself. It's going to help you drive over obstacles at slow RPM, at low RPM.
Keep it straight now.
You're just changing it a little bit because these vehicles are mapped for the highway, they're mapped for general driving. They're not actually mapped for off-road. And what I mean by mapping is you can remap your engine tune to suit better for off-road. Also, for those who like to climb a lot of dunes and whatnot, well, you can get a little bit more power out of them, so you can just climb that dune. A lot of the time we're just lacking that little bit of power. Now don't get me wrong, in stock form these vehicles are pretty damn capable. All vehicles pretty much. But once you start loading them up, you're going to need a little bit of help, a bit of extra juice, especially when you're putting bigger tyres and things like that on it too. So an engine tune done correctly will get you further off-road. But this is one change that definitely needs to be done with care. And also the reason why it's down on the list as number 4. Coming in 3rd position, we have the lift kit. Why? Because you get your extra clearance. So just your basic off-the-shelf kit that gives you an extra 50 millimeters or 2 inches of clearance is what can really make the difference between this section right here and allow you to do this. Not only do you get the extra clearance, but that clearance makes things more point and shoot. It's more forgiving. You don't have to think about your line as much as before. It's not so daunting if you slip off your line because you have that extra bit of clearance. It's amazing what 2 inches or 50 mil can do for you. Some people will say you get more wheel travel, but that is sadly not the case. So a lot of people think they lift their car 2 inches, they get an extra 2 inches of wheel travel. All you're doing is you're shifting where the wheel travel is. In some cases, yes, you can get a little bit more, but in most cases, you'll probably actually get less. Well, not most cases, but a lot of cases, you would actually get less So you got to be careful with your lift kits there. Don't get it to get more wheel travel because it just simply doesn't occur like that. To get that, you need to start changing your shock tower heights and all this other technical stuff, which we're not going to talk about here. So, lift kit is in at number 3.
Coming in second place, we have the Diff Locker, or Diff Lockers if you're lucky to have more than one. Let's not mistake this with the center lock. A center differential lock on a 4-wheel drive is what makes it a 4-wheel drive, by locking 50% power to the front of the vehicle and 50% power to the rear of the vehicle. But without a differential locker in the rear, one wheel will spin more than the other when there's less traction. As you can see right now, the wheel that's hanging in the air or on the loose surface is just spinning. The other wheel with all the traction is doing nothing, and that is because power and torque always follows the path of least resistance. But that's when you put a differential locker in, also known as a diff locker, and this will force both wheels to rotate at the same rate by locking the power and torque 50-50 to each wheel. And that is why the Diff Locker will get you further and why it's so high on the list. But wait, there's more. What other situations would you use a Diff Locker on? Well, if you're lucky enough to have front and rear, you can use them on a beach or on sand like this situation right here. I've bogged down, I've stopped, I've put both lockers on, front and rear, and we're now creeping out forward, tractoring out. That is the power of Diff Lockers. There's so much more than just going up a hill.
And you don't just use lockers going uphill, also downhill. Drum roll. The number one thing you can do to your vehicle to help you get further off-road are, of course, the tyres. You saw that one coming. It's the most obvious thing you can do to your vehicle that's going to improve it. And not only that, not everyone needs a winch, not everyone needs a locker, an engine tune, or a lift kit. But everyone needs tyres because that's what all cars use. It's a consumable item. Multiple chances, opportunities to change your tyres when they wear down. This is a road tyre. It's not meant for off-road. You can see that the sidewall is kind of smooth and it's kind of thin compared to this. This has side biters. Not only will this help you climb in and out of ruts, it'll also help retain the shape of the tyre. It will also help prevent staking of the tyre. Many times out in the bush, I've had a stick go into the side biters, not into the actual sidewall of the tyre. So they actually will prevent this tyre from being staked. These are designed to be puncture resistant to a degree. This is not. A screw can go through this. The tread depth on an all-terrain is also much deeper compared to a highway terrain. So if your vehicle has highway terrain, the first mod you should ever do to any vehicle should be the tyres. And I'm not saying you need to go like a big tyre, you just need to upgrade it to an all-terrain or a mud terrain for off-road purposes. So if you're only going a little bit off-road, all-terrain. It's good for everything, highway, gravel, sand, mud, dirt. But if you want something that's really reliable for like some real rough areas like the Kimberley or the Pilbara, and you're on Shaley Rock, or you're in an area where there's a lot of stakes and stuff like that, or a lot of mud, go mud terrain. Highway terrain, you can get away with on sand, but you can only go so low in the tyre pressure. And that's much to do with modern cars these days. 18-inch, 19-inch wheels with a small rubber band around it, which you can't lower that much because you don't have much of a sidewall. We're only going to go down to about 30 psi because we have 20-inch rims. That's one thing I'm a little bit skeptical on this vehicle. It has these massive rims. We don't have a lot of sidewall to play with for an off-road vehicle. You need to change those tyres to an all-terrain or a mud terrain. You get the better grip, you get the puncture resistance, and it's just way more reliable off-road. Now, of course, if you do choose to go up in a size, do that by all means. Go up that one extra size. It will make a difference. But if you go 2 sizes or 3 sizes or as big as you can, do consider the factors that are the following: legalities, fuel consumption, and more wear and tear on your driveline. So just changing it to an all-terrain or a mud terrain, it's not going to make much difference to your vehicle apart from being a little bit more noisier, a little bit more vibration. But if you don't change the size too much, your car will handle it fine and you'll be thankful for it. So the number one mod again, you can do to your vehicle to help you get further: tyres. For those people modifying your vehicle right now, there you go. That's the top 5 mods for you to get your vehicle further off-road. So maybe look at those before you look at all the other things. If you'd like to see another top 5 on something else, let me know in the comments below. See you then.